As a copywriter and marketing strategist, I am always finding ways to help businesses tap into their core values and their messaging, to find a way to differentiate themselves, whether that means through listening to their clients and pivoting the way that they're talking about problems that they solve, or whether it's something else, whether it's finding, just another angle that's of interest to their clients. So that's part of what this podcast is all about. The second part is going to be bringing in guest experts to bust myths. What we're talking about today, though, is something that's really interesting, and it's the positivity of negative space. And what I love about this topic so much is that we all need to make room for space in everything that we do. If it's copywriting, you need space in the lines. The only job that any given line of copy has is to get you to read to the next line until it's time to get you to click on the call to action. And so to do that, you need focused sentences and lots of white space between them so that your eyes go to the message that you want to go on. In design, you need lots of space, again, so your eyes focus on where they need to be, so that you're focused on making your customers focus, right? So today's going to be a little bit shorter, but I also want to talk about the power of personal space, because there is a realization that I've had several times in my life, but realistically over the last year, and that is, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, you need space for you. And sometimes it's really hard to find. I know this point last year, I was finding myself in 20 plus hours a week of Zoom conversations, and it was too much. I didn't have the space to think, to actually do projects. And I found myself working like 50, 60 hours a week, and I was making amazing money, right? In my business for my clients, I was making them lots of money. But the challenge was that I didn't have that space. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about how you can create space in not just your writing, not just your design, but in your business as an entrepreneur, to have time to focus on the things that you want to do. Because you didn't go into business to be so crazy busy that you're working every weekend, you're working every night. It's just not realistic. It's not sustainable. So something that I did last year is I started taking time for me. I changed the entire flow of my business. And what I want you to take out of that is that it's okay to set the rules for how your business is going to work for you. And that can come through in your messaging. See, there's the key, there's the tie-in, right? But when your business is working for you, when you say, I am not going to work more than 4 days a week, then all of a sudden it allows you to prioritize how you do want to spend your time. And so what I've decided to do this year is take off a week every month. And I'm not making it so rigid that it has to be a solid calendar week. And some of those weeks I'm probably going to be working, but I'm not going to be doing client work those weeks. So this month it was the first week. And I started working on my business that week, but I took a lot of time off. I'm also pretty rigid about timing. I work from 9 to 3 when my kids are in school. So how does that relate to your messaging? It allows you to get hyper-focused on the kinds of work that you want to do. When you say, I am only available this block of time, then all of a sudden you are far more likely to only do the kinds of work and only go after the kinds of clients that you're interested in. And that means that your messaging has to get crystal clear. And it's interesting because I ended up taking off a lot of time in the fourth quarter. And what I realized that I sort of neglected was building that pipeline, building the business development side. So that's what I'm doing in 2022 is reaffirming my systems, reaffirming my messaging so that I am connecting with my ideal audience so I can automate that pipeline just a smidge more. Because the thing is, now I'm clear on the kinds of work I want to do. And now I'm clear on the kinds of time I want to take off. Sometimes I might work and more of a month and then take 1 day off a week. But over Christmas, I took off 2 solid weeks and then a little bit less work on either end of that. So it really ended up being almost 3 weeks. Similarly, I took off 10 days over Thanksgiving, which was crazy. I'd never done anything like that before. So there's really good things about that, right? It gave me the time and space to think. And so when you are crafting your messaging, when you're crafting your USP in particular, think really hard about who those people are that you want to serve and why it matters to you, because that why is going to be absolutely crucial when it comes to deciding, um, staying focused, because the universe will test you. It always tests you, whether it's in the face of a job offer that would have been a dream job offer 4, 6 months ago, even a year ago. Um, and you're like, I can't do full time. Full time is not in my capacity because it's not. I need to be able to be there for my kids. And so that gives me a max of 30 hours a week, even if I were to take a full time job. So I just think, getting really clear on that and setting those boundaries. And from there, within those boundaries, you're able to get really creative in how you fulfill that. Again, within your messaging, within everything that you do. So this is going to be a short and sweet turn your messaging into magic today. But I want you to be thinking about those core values, those boundaries, and how they relate to your USP. Because whatever space it means that you are going to take and create for yourself, your messaging has to reaffirm that, because it will allow you to reaffirm that to yourself again when it comes time. If you have questions on setting core values, setting boundaries, and how they relate to messaging, definitely let me know. Drop a comment here or send me an email, and I will absolutely pop in to respond. I look forward to continuing this conversation tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to talk more about some of the myths we're going to